The COVID pandemic has taught us all an important lesson. If you want to be safe, your neighbor should be safe.
The pearl of the Indian Ocean, the beautiful island country of Sri Lanka has finally opened its borders to tourists from across the world through a well-structured Biobubble Tourism plan. Now, many of our readers and viewers have been curious to find out what this entails. To discuss this and more, today on The Morning Show, we're in conversation with the Ambassador of Sri Lanka to the Sultanate of Oman, His Excellency Amir Ajwad. Ayubowan, Your Excellency, and thank you so much for joining us on the TASS Morning Show.
Hi, Bowen. Thank you for having me for the show.
Sri Lanka celebrated its 73rd Independence Day on the 4th of February, and recently the Embassy of Sri Lanka celebrated the 40th anniversary of diplomatic ties with the Sultanate of Oman. Your Excellency, could you take us through the major milestones that forged and solidified diplomatic ties between the two countries?
Sri Lanka and Oman has celebrated the 40th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations on 17th February. We have arranged an event at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Sultanate of Oman. We launched a commemorative logo, and we exchanged the special congratulatory messages issued by both foreign ministers of the two countries. And also we have signed an agreement on the mutual visa exemptions for diplomatic officers, special passport holders, official passport holders. It's an exemption of visas. It's a mutual exemption. So we signed this agreement on this momentous occasion. Of course, the Sri Lankan Oman relations predate the establishment of diplomatic relations. The first Sri Lankan expatriate to arrive in Oman in 1969 was Mr. Felix de Silva. He was later on appointed as the first Inspector General of Police of Oman, the ROP, Inspector General of Police of Oman in 1974. So this has the long and deep-rooted relations between Sri Lanka and Oman, and we have a vibrant community here. A Sri Lankan school in Muscat, which was established 30 years back. It is an icon to demonstrate the identity of Sri Lankans in Muscat. And also we have a social club here. They are doing a good job to connect the Sri Lankan nationals here. And of course, the diplomatic relations, of course, we established in 1981, February 17th. And Sri Lanka established its resident mission in Muscat in 1987. And the Oman established its resident mission in Sri Lanka in 2013. So from that onwards, from those time onwards, the bilateral relations between the two countries continue to thrive to multifaceted areas up to now. And we have also signed a landmark MOU between the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of two countries on political consultations between the two countries, which serves as a catalyst for the growing bilateral relations between the two countries. And also we have established a parliamentary friendship association between Sri Lanka Parliament and the Shura Council of the Sultanate of Oman, which also connects the legislative bodies between the two countries.
Now, in a very welcoming move, Sri Lanka has opened its borders to tourists through the Biobubble concept. Your Excellency, what are the components of this Biobubble tourism?
Sri Lanka has introduced an innovative system for tourism. Sri Lanka has opened its borders for international tourism. So we have introduced a bubble concept, a Biobubble concept for the tourists to visit Sri Lanka. And of course, under this concept, under this biobubble concept, there's no quarantine. If you wish to or intend to visit Sri Lanka, you have to reserve your hotel back in Colombo. So the hotels, especially designated hotels, a number of hotels, I think more than 130 hotels they have designated for this purpose. So these are called safe and secure hotels, grade 1 hotels. So you can make a reservation because the details of the hotels are available in the website. So we have introduced a website or section called Hello Again. So this gives you a kind of impression that you are welcome back to Sri Lanka. So now you reserve the hotel, and then you have to have a insurance policy. I think it's $12 that you have to obtain a policy that you are, for 1 month you are fully covered under this the policy. And also we have and after this reservation, you make your own reservation, and you catch a flight with that hotel reservation, and then on your arrival in Colombo, the hotel will take care of your transport to the hotel, to particular hotel, and also the PCR. You will be you have to undergo for a PCR test, and if you are negative, you can straight away to visit the places of tourist attraction. So they have identified, I think, 14 places of tourist attraction. To the tourism industry, Sri Lanka and Oman have a huge potential for collaboration. Both countries are tourism promoting countries. Both countries are beautiful countries, and they have their own beautiful landscapes, and they can collaborate each other in this sector. And we have already proposed an MOU between Sri Lanka tourism authorities and then Omani tourism ministry, and which is under study. So we can collaborate in this field, which is a very promising field for collaboration between the two countries.
Your Excellency, recently there have been talks with the Ministry of Higher Education here to facilitate exchange programs and to promote collaboration between higher education institutions in both countries, that's Sri Lanka and Oman. Could you take us through the progress in that regard?
We have proposed an MOU between the two higher education ministries of Sri Lanka and the Sultanate of Oman. For exchange programs between the two countries and to enhance cooperation in this field. So that is because we have similarities, and we have students and staff exchange programs in the past. So it's because many Omani students have been studying in Sri Lanka. For instance, we have a institute called SLIT. So in Sri Lanka, so the many Omani students have enrolled in the past, and they have been passing out from that institute, especially in the hospitality management sector and the IT field. So they have been following their courses in Sri Lanka. Many international institutions and educational universities, they have affiliated with the local institutions and universities in Sri Lanka. So those are also potential institutions for educational cooperation. And also we have already established some collaboration between the Sultan Qaboos University and also the University of Peradeniya in Sri Lanka. And also we are also expanding this collaboration in the future with other national universities of Sri Lanka to have more interaction, student exchanges, staff exchanges, and researcher exchanges, and so on. So there are many potential areas for collaboration.
Now, during the pandemic, the Sri Lankan embassy here has been very proactive in providing welfare measures to the community here through repatriation of migrant workers, providing food assistance. Now, what other measures are being taken for the welfare of the Sri Lankan diaspora here?
Yes, the pandemic situation, of course, it has been a very challenging situation for the embassy of Sri Lanka in Muscat, and we have faced this challenging situation with great commitment and with great support from our community here in Muscat, in Oman at large. And we have been, of course, from the day one, the Sri Lanka, the government of Sri Lanka introduced the institutional quarantine back home. So that's why we were able to contain successfully the COVID spread in Sri Lanka. During the lockdown, we have been distributing dry rations to many Sri Lankan nationals, and also we have arranged separate safe houses for the female domestic workers during this situation. And also we have also arranged and special ambulance services to take those who are affected by COVID to take to the hospitals and so on. And also we have also introduced a hotline facility to keep them engaged with the embassy, and then we have been giving instructions and guidelines to what to do during that time. And also the repatriation of the Sri Lankan, the government of Sri Lanka has two options for repatriation. One is the government quarantine facility, which the government gives or provides free of charge food, accommodation, all other facilities for 14 days for those who are coming from abroad. So that is one, because then government is organizing or arranging the special repatriation flights by Sri Lankan Airlines. So those who wish to go to the government quarantine centers, they make use of that opportunity. And there is another option that those who wish to go for self-financed quarantine for 14 days, there are designated hotels in Sri Lanka. So they make use of other airlines who are operating in the past. And also we have also scheduled flights, and now I think Oman Air is flying, and now again Salam Air has resumed the operation, and also from next month the Sri Lankan Airlines and also the Air Arabia is resuming their flight operations from next month, so they can make use of these four flights already available now at the moment.
Your Excellency, of course there's a lot that's being done to boost tourism between both the countries. Now, what are the other areas of cooperation between Sri Lanka and Oman?
So we have identified some important areas for cooperation which have synergies between the two countries, like trade and investment, agriculture, fisheries, tourism, and education, and defense cooperation and maritime cooperation, and so on. We have also signed a landmark MOU between the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of two countries on political consultations between the two countries, which serves as a catalyst for the growing bilateral relations between the two countries. And it has encompassed to accommodate many areas of cooperation, the many areas of the synergies between the two countries for cooperation. And also we have a MOU between the two countries to have a dialogue on labor and training matters, so which serves as a platform for the dialogue to further enhance cooperation in this sector. We have also signed an agreement on the avoidance of double taxation and prevention of fiscal evasion, which gives a strong foundation, which has laid a strong foundation for the business cooperation between the two countries. And also we will be soon signing an MOU between the two national chambers of the two countries, the National Chamber of Commerce of Sri Lanka and the Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the Sultanate of Oman. So that will also connect the business communities of both countries. So these are the landmark developments that we have established in the past. And also we of course, as the two nations sharing the Indian Ocean, we are well poised for greater connectivity and deeper economic engagement. Sri Lanka has now embarked on an economic diversification drive. So this is the time is ripe to more focus on the economic partnership between the two countries. So for which we have the two clear blueprints of our leaders of both countries. One is the vision of His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the vistas for prosperity and splendor, and also Oman Vision 2040, which was engineered by His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq. So these are clear roadmaps to forge future cooperation between the two countries.
Thank you for being so welcoming as always, Your Excellency. It was an absolute privilege talking to you today.